Oh, this is Mike, NoStressMike.com, and I, I'm still in Topeka now. Like I say, I'll be. I think I'll probably be in this area for probably through April, uh, and I'm trying to kind of figure out what is now. It's between me and the country. Uh, Both I've got to take in consideration on what's going to be my future moves and what I'm going to be doing. I'll tell you, one of the biggest things that I've been having to deal with is how screwed up everything is. And what the biggest letdown has been the American people. Uh, now, now last night I went to a movie last night, and it was pretty good. It was the Kong and Godzilla, and but the problem that I had is I went in and they said you need a mask, and I said no, thank you. And then they said they went on and got one and gave it to me, and and I was thinking normally when I'm putting in a situation like that, I just say okay, well, thank you, I appreciate it, and I just walk out, piss on them. The thing is, I went with the intention is I support local business, and small businesses have been shutting down left and right, and so I look for excuses to do business with small business. And I thought it was kind of odd. That really wasn't a small. It was part of a chain of theaters, and it reminded me that in business we always had a saying: the customer is always right. And the reason the customer is right is because we want to satisfy the customer. And what can we do to make the experience for the customer really good? And what is it that the customer wants? And really, then that's small business, and that's why you can tell the difference. In big business, well, I'll tell you, in the old days, when General Motors was the number one car manufacturer, they said, well, you get what we provide for you. It's not that the customer's right. It was, this is what we feel that the customer should have. And that's what they manufactured. Crap. And it was funny because Toyota was, what I remember anyway, Toyota was the first one that came over here, and they were little dinky cars. And the American automakers was said, well, we think you need and you want big cars, and they were good for maybe 50,000 miles, and so then that's what they would do, and make you buy a new car every 50,000 miles. And then the little Toyota came along, and those things were a little underpowered. You have to change gears to get across the intersection, so, and then, they had the big old V8s and 4 speeds and stuff like that. So, they knew what we wanted. Well, not so much they knew what we wanted, they told us what we wanted. And then and then Nissan, well, let's see, at that time Datsun came over, and then as they started selling more and more, taking more of the market share, then the American automakers started getting a little concerned, and then they started putting more regulations on the imports, and and everything that they did was bad. I mean, okay, there's only so many you can bring in. Okay, so then if that's the case, little cheap Toyotas, they started making them better, bigger, and fancy, more fancy. What is it that you want? They put them in the cars. You know, power windows, power seats, you know, I mean, they put all this stuff in, you know, because if that's what you want, that's what we're going to give you. And then eventually those cars cost more than what the American cars were, but they were better quality cars. Because people don't want breakdowns. They don't want to replace their car every 50,000 miles. And so this is what happened. And now it's got even more, like I say, the big companies trying to control everything. And that's where everybody hears about with New World Order. Well, the New World Order is big companies, because big companies control governments. And I know a lot of governments want to feel like they are in control. But the reality is they get their money from big companies. I noticed that's why I was having a problem in my restaurants, was because more regulations, because the chain restaurants wanted more regulations. They wanted all restaurants to be worked the same way they were working them. And that's why they would set them up with more regulations. And now we had to be regulated doing the same thing as the big multi-million-dollar restaurants. Our little mom and pop had to go under the same rules, you know. So that's why it just got harder and harder. I wouldn't put up with it, and that's how this whole thing starts. That's what I'm saying. As strong individuals, Americans, we don't have to put up with all this stuff, but we've been learning to do it. And hey, Rex, yeah, okay. And I've been concerned now because of the younger Americans. They don't think. They get in line. They do as they're told. This is something that's completely foreign to me. And this is why we know that the 20, maybe 30-year-olds, you know, they're brain dead. They don't think. That's why they're thinking, well, socialism is good, communism is good, you know. And I just had a talk with a 31-year-old, and he was going to try to explain to me how bad capitalism is. And well, for one thing, I don't like listening to stupid people, so I take charge. You start talking stupid, I start taking control of the conversation, and then you can correct me anytime that I'm wrong. And then, because the thing is, if I let these stupid people talk, everything they say is stupid, and I'm correcting them all the time. And I'm not trying to make an argument, I'm trying to get them to think. But because they think that screw up is good, then, you know, I mean, that's, you know, everything. They've taken all kinds of words and made these words that were good words, made them stupid. And that's what I'm saying. I don't play those games. I will start talking to you, I will take control, and then you can correct me. Because otherwise I'd be spending all my time correcting you. You won't be able to say anything if I'm listening to you. But I would love to listen to you, as long as you don't get stupid. This is the problem that I'm finding with the younger people. And this is something that I realize our society is changing, and not always to the good. And this is what I have got to make adjustments on, how I can either counter it, live with it to a certain degree, or not. And so this is what I'm going through and trying to figure out. Because, like I say, I'm always, like chess, thinking ahead and trying to get things going before I need to get them going. And but anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you. This Mike, NoStressMike.com, and Rex. Where's Rex? There's Rex.